Singapore first and business class. I don't know what the difference is between the two, so I went online and I looked, on their website, obviously. And so let's take a look. Here it says there's new seat positions, and if you read this paragraph, it doesn't really explain anything. They both have flat beds, okay, and the business class has stowage space, as if first class wouldn't have place for you to put your shit. I don't know. Both of them you can eat, and both of them have a TV. Let's take a look at the seats. Very similar. Very similar. I still don't have any idea what the difference is, so I decided to book a round trip from SFO to XKG, where one way was first class and then the other way coming back was business class. This is a lounge. I didn't get a chance to walk over and do the whole grand tour, but I'm going to take you to different places. But right off the bat, this is way better than the Priority Pass lounge. So I didn't eat too much food because I had a huge dinner before this, but also I knew I was going to get a fair amount of food on the plane. So after I ate, I decided to find these cubicle things and do work where you can plug in your stuff and bring your food over to eat and drink, and you can even see there's a little space there for you to put your food. And it's pretty great, but I realized I'm stuck in a cubicle all day at work anyway, so I decided to go somewhere else. Before I go on, I just wanted to point out that this is actually called the Polaris Lounge in San Francisco by United, and a first class ticket, I believe probably business class ticket, gets you there. And her face right here, let me see if I can zoom this in. Her face right here is exactly the look on my face when I found out about this lounge. I'm super excited because this is way better than the 2-room Priority Pass lounge. This is like 2 or 3 floors, and it's just way nicer. And this you get with your first class ticket, whereas the Priority Pass you kind of have to pay extra for. So the cubicle stuff they saw was like kind of like these. They have like a ton of these, and it's like fairly large, so it's not super loud. All right. So this is, I believe, the upstairs, and this is the downstairs. There's also a bar, so if you want to get drunk, you can. All right, back to my footage. After I did some work, I decided to take a shower, and this is the shower room. Pretty standard, except for the fact that they have a chocolate right next to the sink. So this is a nice quiet area where you can kind of sleep, and they give you slippers and pillows and stuff, and it's pretty nice because you get a pretty nice view of the runway. So you can just kind of nap and kind of look at planes. There's some guy playing like cartoons next to this room though, so, but still you can just juxtapose that nice quiet area with this insane peasant area where all the noises. And in fact, the next clip I'm going to show you is the first thing I saw when I got out of that like nice quiet peaceful lounge. They give you Dom or Krug or whatever at the beginning of the flight. This is the menu, and I don't know why I have so much footage of the menu, but actually this gives me time to talk. With the champagne piece, I just wanted some, because it's so expensive. I didn't know that they would actually just keep automatically refilling my booze until I tell them to stop. So as you're going to see later on, well into the flight, I'm still drinking whatever they're pouring me at the time. And with a coffee, my entire strategy is to drink it during the morning time at the destination, which was basically right before we land. And these are pretty good, tasty coffee. So one of the main difference between first and business is this cabin is way wider, and it's way longer, so you can actually lie flat in the bed. And I'll kind of go more into it later. So one of the best things about this is you never have to worry about turbulence, as you can see here. And the reason is because, well, if you were to die here, I'm okay with it. In other words, just being in this cabin makes you sort of ready for it. So there's free Wi-Fi, but it's kind of useless because you only get 100 megabytes. So if anything is on and you have app updates that turn on when you're connected to Wi-Fi, you'll be kind of done in 30 seconds. The main difference here between business class is business class only gets 30 megabytes, but first class gets 100 megabytes. But if you turn all your stuff off, you can probably last for a while. And one of the biggest difference is the quality of food. Look at this food. It's like hella caviar and scallops and shit. And then next up we got a tom yum soup. Apparently it goes really well with red wine. And then one of my favorites of anything I've ever eaten in any flying vehicle is this pho with shrimp and spicy sauce in the back. It's super duper good. And after copious alcohol and 3 meals later, they give me this delicious strawberry shortcake. And like the album cover for Melodrama, I'm lying flat here, and you can have noise cancelling headphones, or you can just listen to music to drown out all the noise while you sleep. And when I woke up, I drank a lot of different types of coffee, and the nice thing is you can actually recline and read while drinking coffee. So that's the end of the first class leg, and let's skip over to business. So I found this shower feature in the shower lounge. I have no idea what it does. It does not have enough water pressure to wash anything off, and it's not really like a massage thing. I would say this particular lounge for business class isn't really anything to write home about. They got a nice beer making machine, which is not pictured here, but I'm curious to try priority pass lounges to see if they're any better, which I think they may be. I'm a huge food person, and the food selection was just like pretty mediocre. So I'm looking forward to trying out other lounges in the HKG next time. So this is the business class seat. You can kind of see that it's the screen is a lot closer, and there's some cabinets here. This is broken. This is the dinner table, and you just push it to release it, as I'll do in a second. This is a little compartment, and it's actually fairly annoying because I like resting my shoulder on it a lot, and every time I rest my shoulder on it, the table would bounce up. So let's look at the stowage space here. It's you kind of have to put stuff here, otherwise your legs won't have room. So that's another difference with first class. First class, the seat in front of me, well, there's no seat in front of you, but the wall in front of me is so far away that you kind of can just like kick it. And even if your bag is pretty big, it's pretty easy to stow. Here, the height of this is like pretty small, so you have a slightly bigger bag, even like mine. It's sort of a pain to kind of like put that in there and kind of shove that in there, because it's in the corner. It's even harder than an economy seat to put in, because you're kind of crawling into the corner as opposed to just like bending over and just putting it in straight. You can write a lot of jokes with the last couple of sentences. And here is the place where you can put laptop and other things, your phone, things like that. Plenty of storage space. And I wanted to also take a look at this one. This is not a cabinet space. You just kind of can look at yourself. There's something similar in first class too. This one is like an auto-lit compartment, so you can also put some stuff in there if you'd like. One thing I also mentioned is that there's no amenity set for business class, but there is for first class. So here you can kind of see that the seats are a lot closer, and the only way for me to sleep flat is to put my feet where my fingers are pointing. So you're going to have to sleep diagonally to be able to sleep flat. So it's still fairly comfortable. It's just slightly odd compared to first class where you can just lay flat. So here is where one of the biggest differences in food, like instead of caviar here, you don't get much, you just get scallops, which is fine. Here you can kind of see that the quality of the food is kind of more mushy, and it's sort of like what you would see in economy class. Basically the same exact food as economy, but you kind of have a nicer plate to eat it with. And here is a nice pudding with gold on it, which is pretty surprising. The only complaint here is that the pastry is actually a lot harder. The brown stuff is a lot harder than I thought. I scoop it up here, but actually I lift up the entire thing, so it doesn't kind of come loose as easily as I had envisioned, but that's okay. Here, I'm mostly pointing out the empty water. In first class, that would never happen. They check on you every few seconds, and so service is one of the biggest difference, service in food. Here is a bowl of noodles, and it's pretty similar to the bowl noodles that you saw before, the pho that I love so much, except you can observe that the shrimp actually has the shell on it, whereas the other one didn't, and instead of using pho, they use just instant noodles, and the broth is pretty bland compared to the first class, and obviously the actual plate in of itself is slightly lower quality, but this is not to say it doesn't taste good, but obviously I'm just here to point out the difference between versus business. Of course I would still prefer business class food over economy anytime, right? So this is the breakfast. I actually really like how egg looks, but it's not anything you wouldn't be able to get in economy. So in conclusion, that's kind of end of the video. I kind of just wanted to reiterate the biggest difference in first versus business. Numero uno, the service is just going to be way better in first because there's only 4 people to serve, whereas in business there's going to be a lot more people, so it's logistically impossible for them to get back to you. In fact, I asked for things a few times in business class and they weren't able to get stuff for me, so I just gave up. And the other thing that is different is obviously gonna be the food. The food, as you can see, is kind of night and day with first and business class. The sleeping is a little awkward in business, but I didn't think too much of it. In conclusion, if you care about food and service and the entire experience of the thing, I would definitely do first class over business. But if you only care about getting like a good night's sleep and you don't care too much about the food or service, business is definitely more economical. There's no real reason to pay a premium for first if you don't care about the things that you're paying for, which is service and better food. Sleeping is slightly less spacious in business class, but I think for most people, it'll do just fine. I hope you enjoyed it, and that's all my observations. Let me know if you disagree. Angelo, out.